House to Home, presented by RE/MAX Diamond Realty.
It is Tuesday, everybody. Half a day and happy holidays. And I'm Jason Salas. So that means we are bringing you House to Home, where Gina and Liz, there they are RE/MAX Diamond Realty, bringing you everything. And we have a new friend to the show, Howard Gutierrez. And ladies, I didn't know you guys were introducing me to apparently my long lost twin. Well, Howard, very good to have you here. Happy holidays to you, brother.
Thank you. You too as well.
All right. Thank you.
Now we've worked with Howard for quite a long time. He's with Chief Appraisers. We go back and forth on appraisal reports. We support each other. We clash. We ask questions. We ask for recommendations. And we, it's interesting, the field of appraisal and real estate agents, right, Howard? We're not always on the same page, but we are always after the same thing: true value for the homes.
Yes, agreed. Yeah.
Howard, how has the job, let's say the operational tempo for the appraiser community been like, during the pandemic and now as we slowly start to hopefully come out of it and everything like that? Have you seen a lot of work? Because we were talking to a surveyor for the last couple of weeks and everything like that, and he said basically like the work never slowed down.
Yeah, that's completely true. I mean, at the beginning of the pandemic, when the federal government dropped the interest rates down to probably the lowest it's been in 25 years, I think maybe 2/3 of the island refinanced their home, and it's still going on. And then on top of that, after that, with all the stimulus packages that the federal government came out, smart investors started putting their money in harder assets because, I mean, they're just seeing the fluctuation of the stock market. So talking to a lot of buyers, people giving me a phone call, and they're asking, and I tell them, I can't give financial advice, and, but they're asking me, they're saying, hey, I'm seeing the stock market go up and down every day. What's real estate doing? And basically, it's kind of everyone jumping into the pool at the same time just naturally raises, a rising tide raises all ships type of Ladware. And then on top of that, you have people who, traveling to different states, or just even hearing about some investors from Japan just buying properties here in Guam, just outright cash. And anytime you have outside forces on a local market, that also is going to start raising values and raising the amount of transactions that are going through. So
now, Gina, you said that that the two of you have been working with Howard for some time and everything, and I'm assuming based on the complexity of the typical real estate transaction that these aren't just 5-minute phone call one time, like for each transaction and everything like that. This is an ongoing process, and it's a dialogue that that persists throughout the life cycle of of making sure that property gets handled well.
Well, yes, but I really do see appraisers and realtors, our outcome. I mean, what our objective may be the same, but we're on opposite ends of the spectrum, because we, like on a listing perspective, we start the process by going out there, looking at the property, and we evaluate the condition of the home, and we tend to evaluate what the market conditions are. Because it's our job to project to our owners what we anticipate the market may or may not do. So right now, what we're telling our sellers is it's a seller's market. We have more buyers that will potentially want your home than there are homes available for them. And so I think we're projecting forward, whereas I've always seen appraisers looking at what's happening. Actually, what happened yesterday, and looking at that to say, okay, this is what the buyers did yesterday and perhaps right at this very moment. And so therefore, these are the numbers we can use to evaluate the home. Remember, when they go out there, they're really representing the lenders who have, asked for their service. We always believe they're representing the buyers, but really they're representing the lenders who are trying to look at the collateral to see if that collateral is going to work. And so I think that we're kind of, our goal is the same and we're trying to get to the same outcome, but I believe we're on different parts of this equation, whereas we're projecting forward, they're looking at today's numbers, and sometimes we don't match.
Right. The appraisers, and Howard can attest to that, when they do their appraisal work, they're looking at what properties have sold. So although Gina and I are busy moving forward with new transactions, and then the bidding war starts to happen, what that does is it projects the market even higher. But Howard's job is to look at what already has closed. So whatever has closed, they're, it's factual. They have to look at the numbers of properties that are of similar type that have closed and utilize those numbers in order to project the report. Our purchase documents always state the purchase, usually, if it's cash, then there's usually no appraisal. But if it's a bank loan, it'll state purchase is subject to property appraising at no less than purchase price. But in some cases, some buyers are paying beyond the appraisal value in order to make the deal happen. If they really want that property,
they're hedging their bets, basically.
Yes, they have to less contingencies, and sometimes they're willing to pay above the appraisal value if the appraisal does not meet the purchase price.
Howard, as an appraiser, what are the typical things you look for, like when you go out, like the main points of value, if you will? They can really tend to make a property's value, fluctuate in either direction.
Really what the appraiser's job is just trying to quantify what the market is feeling. So when you take it, I always talk with realtors, and I say, when a buyer calls you, what are the things that they say? And this is good for your viewers. Basically, when somebody is wanting to buy a house, they start listing off things. They say, I want a house in a central area. I need 3 bedrooms, a nice kitchen. Hopefully the bathrooms are renovated. It'd be nice if it has a carport, and on top of the carport, maybe sidewalks, a driveway, typhoon shutters. And then at the very end of the list, and if it's fenced, that would be amazing. And then, at the very, very, very end of the list is, and if there could be a pool, that would be great. And that's that entire conversation that a lot of people have. Yeah, right. And basically, the very first things are the most, what fetches the most value in a market. And then as it goes along, as people go down that list, those are the things where they're less willing to pay for full price for those options. So like in terms of I get phone calls a lot, and they say, hey, I'm thinking about building a pool. What do you think? And really what it comes down to is those high price items that just maybe half of the public can afford to put in. We all want a pool, but then when it comes between sending our kids to college and building a pool, those are just real life decisions that you have to make. So, that list down the line, and what most people first immediately ask for in a house, those are usually the items that fetch the most value: living area size, lot size, location, and then just how nice the house is, if the kitchen's been renovated, the bathrooms, and then carport, and etc.
Well, maybe as we wrap with this, for the benefit of everybody watching right now, Howard, what is the single biggest misconception that people have about, like what you do, and maybe like how when you look at a property and see, does that actually add to a property's overall worth, or, does it take away from it, everything like that? What do people tend to assume about you that they tend to get wrong?
Like a lot of times, people get I need a week to clean my house, or and stuff like that, or I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. And I'll talk to people, well, how much are you thinking about financing, and then how much do you think you need? And they say, well, I'd like to paint my house, and they're like, do you think I'll get 20 grand for painting my house? And I'm like, you got to think, would you pay 20 grand to paint your house? So then that's where the real life application comes into the thing. A lot of times, some people would think that if they put on a $3,500 security system with security cameras, that they're going to get 10 grand on the market for it. And it's just not going to work that way, because value is established by what the average buyer within the market is willing to pay for it. And if most people are only willing to pay $3,500 for a security system fully installed, then you're probably not going to get the 10 grand on the market, And if you're going to invest into your house, the key areas is always, the best bang for your buck would be living area. Other things that people really want, typhoon shutters, making sure that all the air cons are up to date and you have one per room to make the house comfortable. Stuff that buyers, when they, I guess that would fall under your curb appeal. And really what that does is it helps the appraiser do his job, because when we take photos of a property, we're showing it to the bank and we're saying, these are the things that we're valuing. And a lot of times the bank will give appraisers a phone call back and they're going to say, hey, our appraiser reviewer is looking at this and he's just trying to figure out, what are the high price items in value. And then, that's why we take pictures of certain things, like if they have a custom closet or if they have a nice kitchen, and we take pictures of the inner cabinets and all the stuff like that. So, there's usually nothing you can do by the time we get the phone call to do the appraiser that you can do within a week that's going to boost values, 20, 30 grand. But, water blasting the areas and, making sure that the paint is up to date and not like peeling and worn, those go a long way, because if we're valuing a house at a certain type and we're taking pictures of the house and then the house needs a whole new fresh coat of paint, that's going to reflect on the bank. And, sometimes pictures don't do a house justice in terms of what the paint really looks like. So the bank will give us a call and they'll be like, does this house need to be repainted? Does this bathroom need to be cleaned? And we tell them like, oh no, that's just your standard soap scum. That would be gone in an hour. If somebody just scrubbed it, stuff like that. Yeah.
So listen, final word. I would assume that based on what Howard has said, and Howard, we absolutely appreciate the insight. It's fascinating. So much I didn't realize. Ladies, he is an avenging angel for the transactions that you are ultimately closing and everything, because his eye, his gut, his instinct, and his opinion and everything like really lend value in the literal and figurative sense to your transactions.
Yes, that's why we have him, because we value his opinion. So whenever Gina and I have questions about certain aspects of a property, and we usually contact, an appraiser will call Howard and say, hey, what do you think? Will this help the property? So their opinion and their expertise is highly, accepted in our community. It helps us at least sometimes we look at it in a different eye, and Howard looks at it differently. So it's a collaboration of ideas and his expertise that makes a difference.
Gina, I'm sure he's getting a Christmas card from you.
Well, absolutely. They're one of our favorite appraisers. Without their help, we'd be stuck.
So as you're learning, once again, ladies and gentlemen, watching this, like real estate, it starts with your realtors, but it extends far beyond them. It's a whole bunch of different cogs working together to make the entire system work. So Howard, we really appreciate your insight on this, man. Really, really interesting stuff.
Thank you, Howard.
Thank you, Howard.
All right, and happy holidays. And make sure they're taking care of you. They owe you like a box of cookies at least. The good.
No, they always take care of us.
Hey, great relationship. Has to be mezcla cookies.
There you go. Yeah. I was gonna say once you get that's okay. We don't need to appraise the mezcal cookies. We know they're good to go. All right, everybody. Happy holidays. Oh, there you go. Tinatla. There you go.
Okay. Well noted.
Let's get started on that. Okay. We'll see you next time, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Right, take care.
Thanks.